welcome to my channel. My name is Emma and on this channel I share my passion for sewing, particularly patchwork, hand sewing, embroidery, but really just anything to do with sewing because that's what I absolutely love. So thank you for joining me today. Today's video is a chatty catch-up style video because I actually have quite a lot of things to tell you about and to show you. I'm going to show you some new projects that I'm working on, things that I've been doing over the last couple of months. I'm going to show you some really lovely places that I've been that I think you'll be interested to see, and tell you what I've got coming up. So I really hope that you'll find today's video interesting. Thank you so much for joining me and keeping me company, because I've realised lately that I spend a lot of time on my own, and the interactions that I have with you on YouTube, the comments and your support is just amazing, and it really does keep me going. So a huge thank you to all of you for the support that you're showing me here on this channel. It really means so much to me. So how are you? I really hope that you're doing well. Today, as I'm filming this, it's the 28th of September. And this video won't go live until the 3rd of October, so you'll be seeing it then or afterwards. But today, to me, is like the perfect autumn day. It's crisp outside, but the sun is shining. There are autumn leaves already on the ground, and that smell of autumn is there, and it's just so lovely. I actually haven't been working in the garden lately at all. I've had to just leave it because I've been working on other things, and I've got quite a lot to do before putting the garden to bed for the winter. I've got a lot of clearing to do, I've got some seed saving to do, the jobs are piling up out there, but I've actually been spending a lot of time inside because the weather has been rainy and windy the last few days, and I've been trying to focus on my sewing projects and getting things ready for new patterns. But I am missing the garden, and on a day like this it just seems like the perfect weather for doing a bit of autumn gardening, so perhaps I'll squeeze some in this afternoon. But I hope the weather's nice where you are, wherever you are in the world. Autumn is a nice welcome relief from the hot summer that we've had. I absolutely love springtime because after a long, cold, dark winter, spring is so welcome, and the colour it brings with the new flowers. I enjoy early summer, but when it gets to midsummer and hot temperatures like we've had this year, unprecedented hot temperatures, hot weather is just not for me. I'm definitely a warm weather, cool weather type person, so I'm really enjoying this early autumn. So aside from the garden, I have been working on quite a few different sewing projects, and the first one, which is the one you've already seen, is the Quilters Guild hexagon quilt. And the response to that video, that was my previous video, that has been fantastic, and I'm really grateful to you for watching it and for the amazing comments that I received. And I got a lovely message on YouTube telling me that that was my #1 video out of the previous 10 that I've done. And that's something that, if you're not a YouTube creator, you might not realise, but YouTube is always pushing you to better your last video, and that is difficult to do because we can't always be putting something out that is better than the last. So it ranks your previous 10 videos, so when you realise that it's near the bottom, it's disheartening. So it'd been a while since I'd outdone my #1 video, but I managed it this time, so that was really nice, and it just spurs you on to keep going and to keep creating. But the most wonderful thing about that project and about the response that I got from all of you was that so many of you told me in the comments that you're going to make one too, and that has just made me so happy. But then I started to think, I wish I could see all of those quilts. I wish I could see your plans and your fabric choices. And a lot of you shared that you're going to incorporate really personal things into your quilts, like fabrics that mean a lot. vintage embroideries and things like that, and I just wish I could see all of that. So I had a little idea, and I've put together a little Google form, and you can click in the description box of this video and you'll find it there. And if you want to share your quilt with me, and it doesn't have to be finished, of course, you can just share your progress, where you're up to with it, then you can fill out the form to give me some of your details, and then you can submit a photograph or number of photographs with it as well. And then what I'd really like to do a little bit later in the year, so maybe November time, December time, gather together all of the submissions that I've received and create a video about those, where I will share your work, share your photograph. If you have an Instagram or a YouTube channel, I'll share that too. I'll talk about your quilt using the information that you've provided in the Google form, and share it with everybody on the channel. So I'll make a video sharing everybody's quilts so that we can all have a look at them. I just think that would be a really nice thing to do, and it would be a lovely community thing that we could all share together. And somebody in the comments called this hexagon quilt as you go quilt a happy memories quilt, and I love that title for it, so that's what we're going to call it. We're going to call it the Happy Memories quilt. And it reminded me of the blanket that has been so popular in the knitting community for many years now, the Cozy Memories blanket. And this is a similar idea because you're making it as you go along, each block, just like each square of the knitting blanket, and you are incorporating fabrics and things that mean a lot to you. And it was like that with the Cozy Memories blanket, if you're familiar with that. People were using leftover yarns from projects that they'd already made, or they'd done swaps with people, and they had meaning. There was meaning behind all the different yarns in people's blankets. So it would be really lovely, wouldn't it, to do a fabric swap perhaps? That's something to think about. Of course, these quilts are long-term projects, so we can get started with them now. I know so many people are going to get started with it. Maybe share some progress towards the end of the year if you would like to. Of course, you don't have to, but it would be so lovely, I think, if you could fill out the form, send me some photos. I'll put a deadline on the form when I'll collect everything by, and then I'll share where we're up to by the end of the year, and then we could do it again next year if people want to, if it's popular. People like to share their work here on the channel. I just think that would be so nice. So let me know what you think about that, whether you think it's a good idea. I'm really interested in creating community here, and the response to the quilt just made me think that this is a great opportunity for us all to make something collectively, even though we're individuals on our own at home. I think the quilt is a great collective project, and yeah, maybe a fabric swap of some sort could be organised next year. Who knows? So let me know what you think about that, and I'm really excited because I would just love to see your ideas and what you're making for that project. So alongside that hexagon Quilt As You Go project, I've also been working on another quilt. I showed a peek of it 2 videos ago, and I've shown a bit of it on my Instagram as well, and it is a quilt using the hex petal flowers, the hexiform hex petal flowers. And I taught the workshop for the hex petal flowers at the Festival of Quilts this year, and that was a fantastic experience. And I took my quilt, I'd just finished the quilt top, I hadn't layered it up at that point, but since then, since the Festival of Quilts, I have created the quilt sandwich, and I've started hand quilting this one. I've had a break from it because I've used a panel in the centre, and it's from a wonderful company called Madaher, and I've talked about their products before. I've talked about their embroidery kits, but they also make fabric panels. Their artwork is just amazing. They're all original designs. They're a husband and wife team, so they're called Caroline and Devinder. And Devinder does all of the artwork. He's a fantastic artist and he really focuses on floral designs, so you can see why I'm drawn to their work. And Caroline is the embroiderer and she stitches the designs, and they create these beautiful embroidery kits. But I was really excited when I saw that they had fabric panels as well, because I actually do struggle sometimes to find fabric that really appeals to my tastes. There's a place for all types of fabric in the quilting world, but I'm really drawn to florals and particularly pastel colours, so it does take a little bit more searching, and that's quite often why I'm always going back to Liberty fabrics, because a lot of them are my exact taste. So I was really excited when I saw that they had fabric panels, and it's just taken me a little bit to work out the best way to quilt it. So there's been a bit of trial and error trying to get it to look just right, because it is right in the centre of the quilt. And of course I've been making a video on this project since June, I think. So when that is finished, and it's close to being finished, I've just got to finish the hand quilting and then do the binding, and then I'll put all of that together and there'll be a whole video about this quilt. So I'm going to be working on that probably in the next couple of weeks. And if you've been receiving my newsletter, you'll know that I've got something coming up in October and I'm going to be on a bit of bed rest after that. So I think this will be the perfect project. A bit of hand quilting will just get me through that bed rest. So that's what I'm going to be working on over the next few weeks, I think, and then hopefully I'll have it done and I'll be able to share that with you. Now, as well as hand stitch projects, which are always my favourite, I have been doing some machine sewing lately and I've been really enjoying it. So I bought this book quite a while ago now. It is the Farmer's Wife quilt, the 1930s version. There are two books, aren't there? There's the Farmer's Wife and then there's this one. And I chose this one because I really like 1930s fabrics, even though I don't actually have that many of them. But it's something that's been going on. It's something that's been popular for many years, and I definitely missed the boat on this the first time and the second time around. So I thought I'll give it a go because I am interested in improving my machine piecing skills, and I think this book is the perfect way to do that because there are some really intricate blocks in here, lots of tiny pieces in some of them. When I bought the book, originally my idea was to hand piece them, but I've just said to myself, look, you can't take on another hand pieced project. That's just too many. You've got so many in the works. There will be more for your own designs. I really had to have a talk with myself. So I've decided to traditionally piece them, not to foundation paper piece them, which is one of the methods that you can use with the book, but I've decided to traditionally piece them. I think it would probably be easier to foundation paper piece. I think that's kind of what you're supposed to do because there is a CD-ROM that comes with the book and it has those templates there. But it does also have templates for just cutting out the pieces and traditionally piecing them. But I never seem to do things how you're supposed to. I always go off on my own little way. I just wanted to practice traditional piecing, so that's what I've been doing. I bought some fabrics. I bought some of the Laurie Holt Prairie fabrics because I really like the style of them. They do have that nod to the past, but they are in modern colours, so I thought I would just give it a go. It's something completely different to what I usually make, and I'm really enjoying it. It's been a bit of a learning curve for me on my new sewing, well, it's not new now, but the new to me sewing machine, my Juki. I did buy the 1/4 inch foot, but after lots of practice and things, what I'm actually using now is just the standard presser foot, which actually it gives you a scant 1/4 inch, and because I seem to be a bit off with things, it actually gives me the perfect 1/4 inch seam. So that's what I've been doing. I've been really trying to cut accurately and press accurately, and it's working out well. My blocks are turning out good. They're almost the right size. There's just a fraction off. My points are good, and I feel like I've improved my machine piecing skills, and that feels good, and I feel like I can tackle quite a lot of the blocks in the book. I'm not going to make all of them. There are, I think, 99 or over 100 blocks. I'm not going to make all of them. Some of them are not to my style. Some of them are not symmetrical in... I'll show you some examples of that, and those ones just don't speak to me. I think I just really like traditional, and I like symmetry. So I will be choosing those ones. And I did cut out this block the other day, and I thought, oh, that'll be an easy, quick one to do. And then as I was putting it together, I realised Y seams. There's Y seams in this one, you know, inset seams or whatever you want to call it. And that is a thing in quilting, isn't it? We're so used to just straight seams, straight pieces. When you're faced with an inset seam, it can feel a bit daunting. But I think because I've done more hand piecing, English paper piecing, which does involve a lot of those sort of seams, and I think because I've come from a background of making bags and sewing garments and all sorts of other types of sewing, when I'd half pieced this together when I realised I hadn't noticed. So I just thought, right, I'm just going to go for it. And I just did it, and it worked out okay. It is not perfect, but it's not the disaster that I thought it was going to be. So I mentioned earlier that I went to the Festival of Quilts in August and taught my class on the hex petal flower. And it's happened to me before when I've been to a Festival of Quilts that as soon as it's over, you can't stop thinking about next year and going again, because it is so wonderful. It's amazing to have so many inspiring quilts on display and so many wonderful stalls, and it's just such a great experience. And I had a brilliant time there. I was nervous because I've never taught there before, and I actually hadn't been to the festival for quite a few years because of COVID, and I was nervous and I was made to feel so welcome. And if you're one of the people who stopped me as I was walking around and came to say hello and that you watch the channel and things, thank you so much, because I did not expect that at all, and it was so lovely to meet so many of you. And yeah, it was just such a great experience. I was on my own, so things like that just made me feel welcome, and it made me feel like I should be there, because I definitely suffer from some imposter syndrome. So that really made it such a wonderful experience, and I literally cannot wait to go next year. I'm already thinking about maybe making something and entering it. I don't know if I will, but I think that might be fun, just to join in with the community spirit of it all, because seeing the work on display, it does make you want to be part of that, just to have a contribution there. So that's something I'm thinking about. I actually joined the Quilters Guild just after the Festival of Quilts, and I've been wanting to join the Quilters Guild for many years, and it's just not been something that I've been able to do until this year. And I joined the guild, and I also joined two groups. I joined the traditional quilts group, and I also joined the miniature quilts group. And I've only been a member for a month now, but I am so glad that I joined. Already I've received some really lovely things in the post. For example, the Quilter magazine. This is a really great magazine. It's got so much information in. It's the sort of magazine that you would buy at a newsagent's if you're into quilting. It's really, really great. Great articles, so interesting. I haven't read it all yet, but that's something I'm going to be doing really in detail. I'm going to read every word of it. It's really interesting. And also the miniature quilts group that I joined have already sent me two newsletters, so the previous one and the newest one. That's the September one, and they sent me the June one as well. And again, it's just so interesting to see people's work, and I'm so happy that I joined it. So if you've been wondering whether to join a guild in your country or whether you want to join the Quilters Guild here in the UK, already I highly recommend it. It's just so lovely to feel part of something and to get the inspiration sent through the post, and I know that there will be challenges and things that you can join in with throughout the year, and I'm hoping I can take part in some of that as well, and just maybe get to know people if there are meetings or things on Zoom. I know there's going to be one coming up soon, so I'm hoping I can do that. So yeah, I just wanted to share that I've joined the Quilters Guild, and I definitely recommend it. So speaking of shows and things, I'm going to be at the Knitting and Stitching show in Harrogate again this year. So I went there last year in November and I taught my first ever workshops there, and it was really great, and so great that I've decided to go back again this year. I'm teaching something slightly different this year. I'm teaching my little Flower Power pincushion, and here's the example one that you can see has been well used. So we're using the hex petal flower again, but this time in 3/8 of an inch size, and the whole pincushion is stitched by hand. So if you come to my class, which is on the 20th of November, that's a Sunday, at the Knitting and Stitching show in Harrogate, if you come to the class, you'll get a kit and it'll have everything that you need, all the materials to make the pincushion, and then I'll also have things on hand, tools that you can borrow, like glue pens, needles, and well, I think there's a needle in the kit actually, but scissors and things like that you can borrow to sit and stitch and make the pincushion together. It'll be a really nice relaxing project. Because it's hand stitched, it might be that we don't get it all finished in the time, but there'll be an instruction booklet so you can take it away and finish it off. And of course you can always get in contact with me if you need any help for anything. So I'm really excited about that. It's a big thing for me travelling there on my own. Again, it's quite a big drive. I think it's a 2-hour drive or maybe just under. So yeah, it's a big thing, but I'm excited to do it, and I really hope to meet some of you there. I had a great time last time, and yeah, looking forward to that. So that's coming up on the 20th of November. As I mentioned before, I will be taking a little break from being online over the next few weeks at least. While I'm doing that, one of the things that I plan to do is to write up the instructions for the rest of the Grandmother's Rose Garden quilt. I had intentions of releasing the next 2 parts of this quilt because I've only released part 1 at the moment, and it just hasn't been possible. It's been a really difficult year, and I've managed to do certain things and not others, and I am so sorry to anyone who's waiting for the next parts for that quilt. And I know a few people have contacted me asking me, where is it? I really need the next part. And I am really sorry, but it is not going away because I want to finish that quilt too. It's really got a lot of meaning for me. So that again is something that's on my agenda for the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be typing at my computer, and hopefully I'll get the next part typed up so the instructions will all be there, and then maybe it'll be probably into either the end of this year or into next year when I film the next video parts. But I will definitely have the written instruction booklet ready so that you can finish the quilt without the videos. And again, my apologies about that. Do sign up to my newsletter if you haven't already, because I'll notify people there, and I will put something on Instagram about that when the instructions are available. But please accept my sincere apologies about that, and hopefully the instructions will be with you soon. So September has been such a busy month. It's always a super busy month for us. We have all of our birthdays in September, as well as some other birthdays, family and friends. And it's been a hectic month. I've had something on every weekend, and it's great. It's lovely to be busy, but it has been really busy. And myself and my husband actually celebrated milestone birthdays this month, let's say. So we were really lucky enough to have a trip to London, just the two of us. We missed our son. We wanted to take him with us, but we didn't think he was quite old enough to do the things that we were planning on doing. It was just a day, the two of us, and we haven't had that before, so it was a really lovely time. It was great to spend time with each other. But we did actually do quite a lot of planning for a trip to London next year when we will take our son, and we'll probably take him on an open top bus and go and see all the big sights. I think he'll be ready for it then. But I wanted to share with you the footage I took of some of the things that we did on our whistle-stop one-day trip to London. So first of all, I'll show you my little trip to Liberty, and this was actually one of the last things we did in the day. We went to look around the fabrics and the haberdashery. I've not been in Liberty haven't been in Liberty for many years, so it was really lovely to go back and to see such an inspiring haberdashery. And what really made me happy was there was a real focus on quilting in there. I feel like in the past when I've been, it's been more on the dressmaking side, but things have changed and a lot of people are using Liberty in their quilts now, and Liberty have embraced that. And yeah, it felt like being in a quilt shop, and I haven't been in a quilt shop for many years either, because we don't have many quilt shops where I live, or actually any. So it was really lovely. So I thought you'd like to see the beautiful fabrics. I didn't take too much footage because I'm always a bit self-conscious of filming, but I wanted to show you a little bit. So if you do get to London, I highly recommend going in Liberty. So the other thing, one of the main reasons for going to London was to go to the Victoria and Albert Museum and to see the Beatrix Potter exhibition that they have there this year. It will be finishing in January, so I knew we didn't have much time left to go and see it, and I was so delighted when my husband said that he booked it for me, for us to go. That was such a lovely surprise. I didn't know he was doing that, and it felt strange to actually travel away from home to go and see things about Beatrix Potter, because we live not too far from the Lake District, just an hour in the car, and the Lake District is Beatrix Potter's home, and that's where we always go to get our Beatrix Potter fix. And it felt a bit strange to be travelling away, but this is an exhibition that I have been wanting to see for so long, and it was really wonderful. So if you get a chance to see it before it finishes in January, I really recommend going. We were lucky because the day we went, it was actually really quiet. It was a Sunday, so I got to spend a lot of time there up close with the exhibits. There was a quilt there as well, an English paper piece quilt, which I have seen before in Beatrix Potter's house, but it was lovely to see it there on display. And there was so many there's lots of examples of her drawings and things from when she was a child, pictures that she'd drawn when she was young, so that was really interesting to see. But the main thing for me, the thing why I really wanted to go, was to see the waistcoats and the jacket. I think they're 18th century or 17th century, I can't remember now off the top of my head, but when Beatrix Potter was young, she lived in London, she lived around Kensington, and she visited the V&A many times, and she used to take her sketchbook and draw some of the things that were in the museum, things that inspired her. And this waistcoat and the jacket were two things that she sketched. She was drawn to the embroidery, the floral embroidery designs on the items of clothing, which are absolutely stunning. They are beautiful. And there is a very iconic picture in her book, The Tailor of Gloucester, where the little mouse is sewing and you can see the coat in the background and also the waistcoat there. You can see the design. And I didn't know until this year that those items were based on actual real items that are in the V&A. And as soon as I found that out and that they were going to put them on display, I just could not wait to go and see that for myself. So it was a real bucket list thing, something that I was really desperate to see, and it was so magical, so moving. It was lovely to just make that, see that connection that Beatrix Potter had with her drawing, with the embroidery, with the history, with the museum. It all just came together there in the exhibition. So that was really, really wonderful. And yeah, I'm so glad that I went, and I really hope that if you want to go, you can go too. And if you're not able to, then this footage that I've shown you, I hope that that gives you a sense of what a lovely exhibition it was. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you again soon. I will be having to have that break. I probably won't see you in October, but I will send out a newsletter just to let you know how I'm going on. So if you are interested in receiving that, then I'll leave a link below so you can sign up. And other than that, I hope to see you again in November. I should have that video of my flower quilt ready for, that'll be probably the next one because it is almost done. It just needs the final bit, filming and then editing and put together. So hopefully that'll be the next video, and hopefully that'll be out in November. So watch out for that. And then I have a lovely Christmas project that I started making last Christmas, and then last Christmas things just fell apart and I wasn't able to share that on the channel. I didn't even get it finished, so I just put it away and I said, right, this is going to be next year's Christmas project. It's a fun, quick project and I think you'll like it. So that will be out in December for sure. I think I'm looking at one video a month at the moment just to see how things go. So two things there that will be coming out this year, but thank you again. Thank you so much for your support. Take good care of yourselves and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.